He was on Howard's show a lot. The great Chuck Zito. Something tells me you're like me. You used to love him, went on his show. He was the best ever, a lot of fun, scores, blah, blah, blah. But now, no thank you, right?
Yeah, it's amazing to don't even listen to him no more. But I was one of his most frequent guests.
Yeah. That's why
and
I
then he
played that.
finally gave me my own radio show on Howard Stern's 101 for 6 years.
Oh, you did that for 6 years?
6 years, yes.
You were on there, Pharrell, Bubba the Love Sponge.
All those guys, yeah. But I had Chuck Zito, and my thing was called Chuck Zito's View.
Yes.
Who topped the original one on TV with those so-called ladies there.
You are funny. And so it all ended ugly with you and Howard. There's nothing.
No. I just haven't talked to him in a long time, and he never invited me back. Once he got rid of all his shows, I never saw him again.
But if you saw him, I mean, the way you're very close with Trump, very
close.
I've seen you.
I know President Trump for 40 years. I mean, we've been friends for so long.
Right, and I've been with you at Mar-a-Lago with him.
Yes.
I remember the Nassau Coliseum rally. You were sitting front row and center. He must have called you out 30 times that night. He's told me that day we had lunch. You were outside.
Yes.
He said, that guy's the toughest guy in the world. He loves you. So you can't really be friends with Howard because he talks horribly about the president. Or can you?
Look, everybody has their opinion. And it was funny that I won't even mention her name, but I just did the Chiller Theater in Parsippany, New Jersey. There's over 100 celebrities there. And I had my booth there, and of course I sell my shirts, and I have, of course, Trump's the best after the rest, and Democrats are destroying our country. And one of the girls I know for a long time, an actress who was a great actress, she comes walking by, and I went out and I said hello. She gave me a big hug, a big kiss, and everything. She goes, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm right here." She came on my booth, and she's looking at the shirts, and she goes, "You support President Trump?" I says, "Absolutely."
Right.
And that was it.
She won't
walked
talk to you
away,
again?
and she never talked to me the rest of the weekend. If you vote for, that's your privilege. But I'm not going to befriend somebody because they voted for, someone else.
No, listen. Usually it's the Democrats who do that. Right.
Thank you.
But because I'm so immature, now I do it. So even my own sister, I limit the conversations. If you don't like Trump, if you badmouth Trump, I would have nothing in common with you.
Absolutely.
What am I going to sit and talk about? You want to talk about the Mets? Stop it. So,
speaking about the Mets, I'm going to the Mets-Yankee game Sunday.
Are you really?
Yes.
Now, is that one in Queens or in the Bronx?
In the Bronx.
That's the first.
Bronx, where I was born.
Are you a Yankee fan?
Yes.
Oh, that's no good.
I was in the Bronx.
It doesn't matter.
I'm a Mets fan also. They're a New York team.
Right.
So I support them both.
But if the Yankees play the Mets, you like the Yanks.
Yeah, but I bring my two great nephews with me. One loves the Mets, one loves the Yankees.
Fantastic.
So they're going to have their Mets uniform on, their Yankee uniform on.
I love it. Where were you born in the Bronx? What section?
I was born on Wheeler Avenue in the Bronx. From there, I moved to Hunts Point, Barretto Street.
Sure.
That was right across the street from the Spofford home. So every time I did something, my mother says, "I'll put you across the street if you're bad." So this, I grew up with that fear.
This explains why you're such a tough guy. If you grow up in the Bronx and you're not tough, they're going to eat you up, right?
Well, you saw my documentary, Mar-a-Lago.
Yes.
I've had it. The first week we did in Grumman's Chinese Theater. I had a big premiere there.
Yes, Los Angeles.
3 weeks later, of course, I did it. My father's birthday, January 30th, at Mar-a-Lago. So it was dedicated to him.
Yeah.
He was looking down on me.
Yeah.
And then now is going to be Thursday night is the final one because I tweaked it a little from Grumman's Chinese Theater to Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, you actually changed the movie just a little bit.
A little bit.
Okay.
And now from Mar-a-Lago to now, it's changed again.
Wow.
I added because people were telling me, especially people who want to buy it, a lot of people are interested in buying it. So they said, well, look, you're known for motorcycles and cars. I don't see that in there. So I added that, building the cars, building the motorcycles.
What are you building it? What about like just Hell's Angels stuff and road trips and all that? Is that in there?
Well, no.
Okay.
No.
Are you involved with the whole motorcycle thing anymore? Is that
No. I quit the club 21 years ago after 25 years.
Okay. See,
So-
I was on a set of a movie
Yeah.
in Blauvelt, New York with you.
Yes.
And it was Paul Borghese and all these guys. I forgot what it was already. It doesn't matter. My favorite part of those 2 days was sitting and talking to you because I've known you for a very long time.
Yes.
But I really got to know you. And you were showing me pictures talking about your late father, God rest his soul.
Yes.
Of your dad.
Yes.
And you explained to me his boxing career. Your father was a big-time boxer.
My father fought in the 30s and 40s. Had 228 fights
Jeez.
in 12 years. He used to fight 2-3 times a week, sometimes twice a night. You couldn't fight twice a night, so he'd go to Connecticut, fight, jump on a train, come to New York City and fight.
And wasn't even making a lot of money, right? Or
You know
was
what
he?
he was making?
How much?
$10 a fight.
Oh, my God.
Here's
oh my
$10. Don't spend it all in one place. Imagine that.
Although back then, $10 was...
So he always said he was born 40 years too early when these guys are making $400 million.
and to
of one
fight,
fight.
and he can fight twice a year instead of twice a night.
Twice a year. They're lucky if they fight once
Right.
every 3-4 years.
So there was no way that you were not going to be a great fighter, being that your dad was... and you did also box professionally.
Not professionally, amateur.
Amateur,
Because
okay.
I got married young and I had to go to work. But what happened was when I was living on Barretto Street, there was a guy named Butch, like that from the Little Rascals.
Yeah.
Every time I went out there, he used to beat me up.
Every
Even
time?
at 5 years old.
Oh, God.
That was the mentality he had. So I went crying home to my dad one day, and he goes, "Don't ever come crying home with me." He pulled out his chest, the old trunk, opened it up, and he had all his boxing equipment in there, his gloves, his robe, his everything. And he started, got on his knees, put the gloves on, and teaching me how to box.
So he trained you, your father?
Yes.
So then when
I had my first ring fight when I was 12 years old at the
12?
Southside Boys Club in New Rochelle.
that was your first
And that
amateur
was it.
fight. How many
My
amateur
first
fights did you have altogether?
36.
How many did you win?
30.
30 and 6. Does that include knocking out Jean-Claude Van Damme at scores?
That was almost 30 years ago. That's crazy.
But they still talk about that all the
I know,
time.
everybody sees me. They talk about it. I don't know why. I mean, we finally became friends after 17 years, so I don't go there no more.
Yeah. You never
know.
bring it up?
Nah.
But you do see him every once in a while.
Well, what happened was I was at the Pacquiao Mayweather fight, and Mayweather
I
came
was
out.
there. Is that
Yeah.
the one in Dallas? No.
No, that was in
Vegas.
In Vegas.
Yeah.
He came out, said hello to his family, and I was the second one he came up to, Floyd. He hugged me. Jean-Claude was sitting home with his daughter, Bianca, and said, "Is that Chuck Zito?" And she goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Invite him to my premiere." He was having a premiere 17 years later. I went there. We saw each other. We hugged and kissed each other. And he says, "Thank you for coming." I said, "Thank you for inviting me." And now we're friends.
Oh, that's great.
So I don't bring that up.
No, I'm
But
sorry I
everybody-
brought it up.
No, that's okay.
Strike it from the record.
No. Everybody every day asks me that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But
It is crazy.
it's almost 30 years
It
ago.
follows you.
It's crazy.
I mean, but is he the only famous person you beat up, honestly?
no, there's a few more.
When you get into there are famous people, because I know almost every day, this is a true story. Chuck walks the streets. He's like the the legendary tough guy. So there's a jerk off almost every day who's like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right." Almost
Everybody
every
wants
day.
a shot at the title.
Yeah, and how
But
does that go
nobody
for
was
them
able to
usually?
take it.
Usually they end up on the floor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So-
should have took out space, space on the bottom of their shoes. Advertisement.
Stevie checks in, our friend Stevie. He says it's Jerky Boys up there in Blauvelt. So these are the names attached to Chuck Zito's movie, which you can see Thursday in Westbury. Not bad here. Here we go. Frank Stallone, Andrew Dice Clay. I'll read some of them. Tony Danza, Vinny Pastore, Randy Couture, James Russo. I love Jimmy. Gene Jett, Robert Davi, Chaz Palminteri, Dean Winters, Pamela Anderson, Michael Madsen, Ron Perlman, Mickey Rourke, the late, great Jimmy Kahn, Sly Stallone, and President Trump. It's quite a list.
I have the most famous, powerful man in the world as our president, the greatest president of my lifetime, Donald J. Trump, opens and closes my documentary.
Unbelievable.
And he did a fantastic job. Like I said, we know each other a long time, almost 40 years, and actually 40 years. So, and we met back in the day because I was Bodyguard and Liza Minnelli, and we always went to the same places.
Is that right?
Studio 54, all these other events we went, dinners and everything, and we became friends, and we're still friends till today. And that's why he did my documentary.
No, he loved you. Liza
I love
Minnelli.
him.
You still speak to her?
Liza is not in great shape.
Okay.
And she's living out in California. I haven't talked to her in a while. I went a few years back. I went to go see her. But, she's older now, and because all the dancing and all, she's hurting.
She's one of the all-time greats. How'd you get that gig?
She was great. Actually, it was one night. It was after the Roberto Duran Sugar Ray Leonard fight. The first one.
Oh, no, the first one.
The
Okay.
first one.
Right.
I was at the Academy of Music with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd.
Oh.
We were watching it. And he says, we're going to go up to this bar. Come on with us. I said, I don't drink. I know I never took a drug. And I says, well, I don't really go to bars. No, this one you got to come to. There's actresses, ballerinas, everything. I says, oh, you guys talked me into it. So we went up to Cafe Central. That was up on Amsterdam Avenue up there. And I walked in there. Of course, I had my Hells Angels jacket on.
Right.
So we walk in there, and if you remember, Paul Herman was the maitre d' there.
Yep.
And a girl named Sheila Jaffe. So I walked in there, and I'm walking around, and I walked. Liza Minnelli was there. Cher was there. Treat Williams was there. John Goodman. Peter Regan. Bruce Willis was the bartender.
No kidding. That was the place.
Yes. Cafe Central. He used to make me 8 creams, Bruce.
That's great.
And when I went up there, everybody used to laugh because I'd sit there with my patch on, and I'd order a glass of milk and chocolate cake.
That's all you ordered. That's
so
great.
The first night I went there, this guy, Paul Herman, comes up to me. He goes, look, I got to ask you to take that jacket off. You're scaring all the customers. I said, well, I don't take my patch off for anybody. He goes, well, my boss said, that I have to do. I said, well, you tell your boss to come see me.
Oh, my God.
So with that, a little guy, Peter Herrero, comes over to me, and he goes, what's the problem? I said, well, your guy's telling me to take my jacket off. He goes, well, you're scaring all my customers. You got to take it off or you got to leave. I says, well, I'm not taking it off and I'm not leaving. And when my friends leave, I'll leave. I said, you know what? Sit down. There was a booth open. I said, sit down. And we started talking. And then I said, first of all, yeah, I'm a Hell's Angel, but I don't drink, I don't smoke, I never did anything. And we started talking. After like a half hour, he goes, you know what? You're welcome here anytime you want. And that became my new home. I was there every night.
Oh, that's great. That's a great story.
So, one night, I'm sitting there with Paul. We became friends. I'm sitting there. I have a Coca-Cola on our table, and all of a sudden, I see a hand, grabs it, and starts drinking. I turn around. There's a guy I never saw in my life. He starts drinking my soda. I said, what are you doing? He goes, I'm doing. I said, what do you want to, beat? And I'll take you outside. He goes, well, there's 3 of us. I said, oh, really? Well, 3 of them. Boom, 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 3 shots, 3 knockouts, right in the middle of the street. Who comes turning around? Peter Herrera is in the car with Peter Weller and Treat Williams. And he jumps out. That's what I'm talking about, see? And so Paul came out. He goes, look, Pete, they started with him. He took him outside. He didn't start inside. He gave him a beat, and that's it. He sat down again. He goes, he gave me a job as a bouncer. But the only thing was I had to wear a suit.
You had to wear a suit.
I wear a suit.
Yeah.
So I used to go there, and I became the bouncer of the the security.
Right.
And then met everybody you could think of. And I was at a bike show at the New York Coliseum. And back in the day, they used to have all celebrities from all TV shows, Batman, Robin, all that stuff, and Adam West and Burt Ward and Robbie Conrad was there.
Oh yeah, knocked that battery off my shoulder.
Right. Tough guy, great guy,
yeah.
Martial artist too, and he was having trouble. His bodyguard was having trouble getting him in the back. Everybody was surrounding him, so they said, "Can you walk us in? Walk us to the back." I said, absolutely. So when I got there, people spread like the Red Sea because they saw me. We got in the back, and I started talking to the bodyguard. I says, look, you making a living at it? She goes, yeah, it's a good, you can make a good living. I said, well, how'd you start? He goes, look, the best thing to do, have some cards made with a catchy name, start giving them out to people, and before you know it, you get a call. So my name was Charlie Chuck Charles. I was a Hell's Angel. I called it Charlie's Angels Bodyguard Service.
Awesome. I
had cards made of a flying kick box with gloves on. I started giving them out. I gave them out at Cafe Central because everybody and their mother was there.
Right.
And the next thing you know, Liza Minnelli called me the very next day.
Awesome.
to work for her sister, Lorna Luft.
Oh, Lorna Luft, yeah.
And then she was doing a play. After that, Liza, called me.
Yeah.
She was doing a play called The Rink, and everybody went to see Liza in the back room, and they had to go through me.
That's great. What a great gig.
I walked in one night to Liza. I says, look, Elizabeth Taylor's outside. She'd like to come see you. She goes, you kept Elizabeth Taylor waiting? I says, yes. She goes, I love you. And that was it.
Yep. She now Liz Taylor was her.
Oh, they were dear friends.
Just friends, not relatives, right?
No, relatives,
not relatives, right?
Her relative, half sister, was Lorna Luft.
Lorna Luft, right? That's a great story.
Great thing, and that's when I became the bodyguard to the stars.
That was it. So, is there anybody famous? I mean, got about 3 more minutes. This is the great Chuck Zito. Please join us on Thursday night. We'll give you more details. You got President Trump opening and closing your documentary.
Yes, but he's in Saudi Arabia now. I was hoping he'd come.
No, he's going to be. He's coming back to the States late Thursday night, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But is there anybody in your life you didn't meet that you would have liked to meet or worked for?
The only one who I would have loved to meet, of course, was Bruce Lee. I have his jacket on.
Yeah.
He died in 1973, and of course Elvis. But I actually saw Elvis in concert 4 times. Twice in Madison Square Garden and twice in Nassau Coliseum. So at least I was there, and we were this close, far away.
Well, how come you didn't walk up and say hello to him? I guess you couldn't. Security.
We were on the right behind the stage was the first level. You couldn't walk over to him, but he came right up to us, turned around, and we made eye contact and everything.
Wow.
And to this day, every bike I have, every car I have has TCB on it, which means taking care of business in a flash.
So you still love Elvis? He's your guy.
Oh, absolutely.
He's your guy.
He's the greatest rock and roll, the king of rock and roll, and
that'll never
Joan
change.
Jett is the queen of rock and roll.
You know, it's funny. I went to what do you call it again? Bethel Woods. My mother lives up there.
Okay,
that's the actual original site of Woodstock. Original site.
Yes, of
Jimi
course.
Hendrix, Janis Joplin. So they built this beautiful amphitheater. It's a museum. You'd love it, Chuck. So one Friday night last summer, I'm up there visiting my mom, and I find out they got 3 ladies performing. Some country star, I forgot her name. Who's the other one who sings Isn't It Ironic? Alanis Morissette and Joan Jett.
Joan Jett.
I saw Joan Jett last summer. She's still great. Great.
Absolutely. She's in concert right now. She's missing my documentary Thursday night.
Where's she performing?
She's in Florida.
Oh, Florida. Okay. I mean, she's great.
Kenny Laguna, who's been our manager for years, also plays the keyboard with her. He told me we love to be there, but she's doing a concert. It's okay. So
yeah, she's still touring.
And then Thursday night, like I said, you're coming. A lot of people are coming.
Is it open to the public?
No. This is invitation only.
Oh, this is
invitation only.
I'm a big deal.
You're a dear friend of mine. Listen, my whole family. My 93-year-old mom is going to be there. Oh. That's why I'm doing it in Westbury. Because she lives in Comac. So I didn't want to drive in a long time in a car. So my 93-year-old mom will be there. My sister will be there. My nieces, my nephews, all my friends, including yourself. And we're going to have a packed place.
Is Bo Dietl coming?
I believe he is. I believe he is.
Now, you told me the story about the jacket. I have a similar story for you before we run. There's somebody else. He refuses to take off a piece of clothing. And he's running for mayor. I'm talking about the beret. Curtis Sliwa.
Well, yes.
I was with him last night.
Him too. I hope he comes also.
Oh, he'd love to
Scott
come.
LeBeta will be there.
Oh, really?
Dear friend, yeah.
All right.
Scott will be there.
It's going to be great.
Everybody, everybody's going to be there.
All right.
I mean, it's going to be a big night, be a great night. So I'd love to invite a lot of people, but it's invitation only. And
but when you're done with all these, like you've done L.A., the Grumman Theater.
This is the last one.
Last one. Then it will hit theaters?
Because people will be there from Amazon Prime and Lionsgate. They're going to look at it.
Perfect.
We have another friend who wants to put in 1,000 movie theaters. And if that happens, that's going to go to movie theaters. A month later, it will go on one of the live, streams on TV. So
I'm so happy for you. It is Chuck Zito, An American Story. And I will say this on the way out, not to blow smoke up your ass. I've never met anybody who doesn't love you. They're like, Chuck is tough. He's great. And you are tough. You're also one of the nicest people ever. You give one of the best hugs. You give the guy a kiss. I mean, yeah, if they do you wrong, you're going to be in trouble.
Look, you got to be a man first before anything. So if somebody disrespects you, you're going to take it to the next level. That's the bottom line. You're not going to walk away. And sometimes that happens. But you know what? I treat people the way I want to be treated, with the utmost respect friendship. You want a hug. You want to, whatever. And that's it. I treat people the way I want to be treated.
And you treat people very well.
You go above those lines, then we take it to the next level.
Right, which, trust me, you don't want that. You don't want that, trust me. Chuck,
I'm 72
I love you.
years old.
I don't care.
And a year ago, I had 2 street fights. Go figure.
And you won them both.
Yes.
And these 2 idiots thought they can beat you. So
yeah, one guy was 28, the other one was 36.
This is fantastic.
So, and that's it. We just, like I said, I've been working on this video. I mean, my documentary for 10 years now. That's why there's a lot of people that look a lot younger. And it started with a guy named Mike Amoya, who had Vidiot's Productions. He read my book, Street Justice. He came up to me at an event. I'd love to do a documentary about you. We started it. 3 years later, they ran out of funds. It was sitting on my desk for 4 years. Then I went to go see the Michael Madsen documentary. And this guy, Dominic Milano, I saw it. I said, he did a great job. Would you like to do mine? I have like 75% of it done. Absolutely. Everybody knows you. I'd be honored. And the last 3 years we've been working, and now our finished product is done. And this is our 3rd premiere and the last one.
Congratulations, Chuck Zito, An American Story. Thursday night promises to be a great night for a lot of us. We're very lucky to be there. And all of you folks out there, you'll be seeing this sometime very soon, too, I promise. Chuck Zito, we love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, brother. I love you.
You're the best. Chuck Zito right there, folks. An American Story. I would have called it an American hero, an American legend, but he's a little more humble than I am. We'll take a short break.